All right, Fernando, the red light just came on. Are you nervous? You okay? You want to go forward? You're all
I'm
right?
very
Okay,
okay.
you can
Very
stop
nice.
if you want. If you want
Thanks
to
for this.
bail out of me, you can. But all right,
Happy to share, and I hope just to give some added value to our
awesome, cool.
audience.
Well, why don't you start off? Let's do me a favor and tell my listeners who you are and what your company does.
Okay, I am just a European, born an American economist with almost 20 years of experience in strategy consulting, international business development, digital entrepreneurship, alternative investing. And after a lot of years just assisting to companies with their digital transformation, international expansion, their IPOs. My background, by the way, includes a double degree in business administration and economics and MBA from ESE, master in finance from CEF. But after several years just running different syndicated investment funds, we decided, okay, why instead of making the rich richer, we try just to assist other people, not to be able to invest in this kind of alternative investments and to make accessible this kind of high return investment. So that's why we launched Rental, that it is a Web3 real estate investment platform that nowadays is leader in tokenized assets under management in Europe and Latam. And the idea is exactly that, not to allow people just with 2 clicks and a minimum investment of $100 to acquire. In this case, we have been in the last 3 years just providing our investors cash on cash annual returns from 13 to 30%, monthly passive incomes, and first time in history, thanks to blockchain and smart contracts, 24/7 liquidity, that it is really appreciated, obviously, for investors
Sure,
in
that's
general.
awesome. Well, for my listeners out there who do not know much about the real estate market and tokenization, what is the sort of elevator pitch? How do you dumb it down for just the average person to maybe go, oh, I totally see what rental is doing.
Well, basically, the reason after those years as a strategy consultant and just providing other companies the capability of that international expansion, I began as a hobby to begin to invest in real estate. No, and the reason basically is because normally always I suggest everybody to have some kind of short-term investment, some kind of passive income, and for me that was real estate. And also I suggest to have some kind of investment in the for the middle term, that in my case is
Mhm.
private equity. And by the way, we are nowadays offering the possibility of investing also in the equity of
Mhm.
rental through this Republic campaign that probably we will speak about it. And finally, also, well, obviously to invest for the long term. No, this kind of, okay, guys, let's create our own pension fund just in case. And that's why also I began just for several years ago to begin to invest in digital assets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. So let's say that what we decided is to merge the experience we already had in the real estate investment, that according with several studies, and the reason basically why I began is companies such as JP Morgan, no, constantly are remembering that real estate income has generally outpaced inflation over the past 30 years. So it was a way to hedge inflation. And at the same time, with these new technologies, the idea is to make accessible to everyone, because the principal three problems that we are solving is that normally to invest in real estate, you need very high tickets or down payments. If you want to buy a house, you are going to need at least 20% of the price, although you can ask for a mortgage to the bank. Or similar in the syndicated investment funds I am managing, I am asking minimum 500,000 tickets and so on. So it is some kind of investment, very normally very limited, not to a very small part of the population, with very interesting returns slash risk radius. And consequently, well, what we are doing is to use this Web3 and all the advantages of the blockchain, the smart contracts, and the tokenization that basically is what allow us to provide not only those passive incomes to allow to invest from $100 to provide you, obviously, after we sell the properties, the appreciation in automatically way in your digital wallet, but inclusive to invite you to discover the advantages of the DeFi. Since we are in the following weeks, we are going to allow you to use collateralized loans, meaning you are going to use our own security token that is providing you those 30% return. You are going to be able to use it as a collateral, as a warranty, and to ask money 80% of the price of this token. And again, you can use that money to spend it, or you can reinvest. That bottom line is going to allow you basically to double your
Wow,
return.
that's really great. That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like that's gonna be very like a very unique thing that you guys are adding to the market. Let's talk a little bit about maybe a pivotal moment in your mind that really significantly impacted the growth of your business.
Well, if we need to speak about some storytelling or some critical turning points in my life, I would bring into the table the COVID. In fact, during COVID, well, my father passed away, and it was the first time and last time that he visited a hospital due to the protocol COVID alone. I mean, they do not allow us to go inside with him, and well, it's impacted me a lot because he died alone, no, in a cold hospital room. And that took me to begin to think about all this process in my career as a strategy consultant and just developing different businesses. Okay, guys, perhaps I am not using my talent in a way that I could impact positively or to the to more people, no, in that kind of situation. So, well, long story, I decided in that moment to launch a agency of over 300 nurses nowadays who are providing skilled care at home. And what we are allowing precisely is just that these nurses are geolocalized and they just can check in and check out with their mobile devices in order to minimize those cases that my father suffered. And at the same time, that situation obviously impacted me because obviously he left my mother, by the way, with Alzheimer. And thanks to some real estate investments we did, we can pay nowadays a 24/7 person to take care of her at home. So in that moment, my criteria, my priorities changed. I mean, I have been having a very successful executive career in different consulting firms, and I have been assisting and just different inclusive family companies, from family to multinationals of 21,000 employees, increasing revenues a bit at 10 times, and successful IPO and so on. So let's say that it has been a moment in which the priorities were the financial KPIs. And from them, after COVID, I began to change KPIs from key performance indicators to key positive impact. No, how can I use my strength, talent, experience to impact as many people as possible? And in fact, recently I gave a talk to young graduates, mostly from Latin America, and told them that I fully identify with the protagonist of the film Schindler's List, no, played by Liam Neeson, if I remember well, since we were sharing a similar vital purpose, no, of helping as many people as possible. In his case, Jews in the Holocaust, but nowadays, in my case, I see that blockchain and smart contracts and the tokenizations give us the capability of provide hope to all these Latin Americans, millennials over the world. Despite their governments, internet is some kind of window to freedom. And these technologies, blockchain, tokenization, and especially these new options for generating wealth, passive income, and alternative investments, I think that it is one of the most revolutionary ways to do or to impact all these people. So that is our main objective: is okay. Let's go from call financial KPIs to see, in fact, our purpose is to impact more than 9 million families by 2030, providing them this capability of new revenue sources and new alternatives or new hope to generate this alternative wealth.
That's awesome. So I guess walk me through. That's a big statement. Big goals. How do you know where your starting point is to start to achieve everything you're talking about right now? It feels like that's a big task. So like where are sort of the first steps in your game plan?
Well, usually from a business perspective, obviously I'm identifying what is the traction and what is the potential of the company and the industry I am analyzing because obviously I'm in a regular basis, as I mentioned, I am just investing DCs through private equity and family offices and so on. So we got some kind of checklist, no, in order to identify. Okay, it sounds interesting. It has to do, obviously, first with the team. Normally, I use that it is an acronym that is going to be complicated to translate into English because it is a Spanish one about the 5 vowels of what are the minimums that you need to look for in order just to invest in a company. And basically, has to do with the scalability, has to do with the capability of international growth, the uniqueness, the team, and so on. So there are some checklists whenever we are analyzing in this, let's call it venture capital phase. No, obviously it's different in private equity. That it is basically my focus. That it is companies who already have achieved some kind of network effect and traction. And from that moment, obviously, in the case of Rental, in just 3 years, no, we have achieved that leadership in Europe and Latin America. We got more than 15,000 users from 75 countries that 9 out of 10, in fact, reinvest with the company. So that kind of criteria is what begin to, okay, from a financial perspective, it got the minimum base necessary, but at the least time, at the same time, you can impact many other people, no, with these new technologies. So I would say that it is a mix of macro analysis, financial KPIs, and purpose with capability, no, of exponential growth of the company.
Let's talk a little bit about team. I mean, obviously, you have a team around you that you've been building, and you in your history, you're working with other people. How do you retain, attract, and inspire kind of top talent to be working around you and to get involved in your mission that you're on right now? How do you sort of manage and look for talent in your space?
I would say that is critical, no, and it is the principal asset of any company, and for sure the culture I try just to breed and to feed is fundamental to identify talent, to attract it and to retain it. And in order to do so, well, just to put the example of Rental, we are probably more than 40 people nowadays in various roles, C-level, developers, marketing, customer success, real estate, finance, investor relations, legal, the typical ones. But in all of them, there is a common factor that it is they need to fit with the culture. And culture mean, okay, guys, why we are here, how we are going to achieve that why, and what are the minimums we are going to request in a daily basis. And some rules, because also it would be a little long, but for example, we got that third strike out rule, meaning that, okay, guys, we are here because you share the purpose, in our case, for example, of impacting up to 9 million families and provide them this capability, this freedom, this new alternative. And in order to do so, normally we just dedicate 100, 120% of our time because there is passion in order to achieve those goals, and it is worth it, whatever the results. Okay, let's do something because we are going to learn for sure in the process, and probably we are going to begin to open a way that if it is not ourselves, someone will come later on, but we are just providing a easier way to achieve that. So basically, it is resonate with that purpose, to resonate with the culture. And the third strike out rule means that basically we promote to make mistakes, clever mistakes, and control risk
Sure.
mistakes. But obviously, we just accept three of them of the same nature. I mean, when first strike, second strike, third
Yeah.
strike, you are out. And basically, is that how we try to attract and
That's
retain
awesome.
talent.
Talk to me a little about I thought it was pretty intriguing on some of the maybe your personal things that you're into, whether it's playing music, meditation, it looks like karate as well. How does those types of hobbies impact what you do on a day-to-day basis with your company, and how do you find balance between those types of passion to work? Talk to me a little bit about how you approach both those things.
Yeah, it's a good question, no? Because I think it is the root of the um, search happiness that I think it is a mistake. By the way, I have lived several years in Asia, no? Because that consulting began with Accenture. After that, I launched my own strategy consulting firm, Savia, and it brought me to live to different countries all over the world, and some of them more interesting, obviously due to the
Sure.
contrast versus Asia and the Occidental culture. Whenever I live in Indonesia, in Singapore, in Japan, what I learned is that, okay, guys, there is a very interesting Then koan, no, these kind of phrases that you need to think about them, no, that it is one of them curious is if you find Buddha, kill him, and meaning basically of my interpretation, because he's open obviously to whatever interpretation is. Well, the critical aspect here is not life itself, but to live properly. You know, in order to do so, I do not believe on balance. I believe on harmony. But normally it is an unbalanced
Yeah.
harmony, meaning that in some cases you're going to need to be focused on your business, on traveling, and so on. And in some others, you are going to be have time, or you're going to be able to dedicate more time to your family, to your friends, and so on. So what I would say is that there are some minimums that I try to respect. That obviously
Awesome.
is rest, sleep. That it is not easy whenever you are just managing multinationals and so on due to the jet lags. But for sure, I am at least aware that I should just try to sleep on a daily basis. To try also to respect some kind of diet that is going to allow you to give or to provide you the energy that you are
Mhm.
going to need, at least during those critical 10,
Yeah.
12 hours. And I try also just to exercise, stretching. I'm very fond of martial arts, Krav Maga, karate, and so on. I have competed, in fact, in karate. And that kind of, and the reason, by the way, is because of the art, of the art part of
Mhm.
martial art. I mean, I love to begin in our dojo. We always begin with meditation, transcendental meditation, and we finish always also the session with meditation that allow you just to tame your
Yeah.
mind. That I think is our principal
Yeah.
enemy. Not the mind itself or the ego itself, but the mind and ego that are not tame, that are controlling your nervous system or your life. So what I would say is this kind of minimum habits that allow you just to identify that life is something more than just our daily routines. And I try just to dress, if not every day, at least every week. No, listening insightful podcasts, reading meaningful books, watching inspiring movies with the family, and also music. No, I play clarinet and saxophone, and basically it's try just to do a little bit of all the different wonderful things that life provide us, and enjoy most of them as
That's
much as
awesome.
possible.
How do you personally deal with any sort of failures or setbacks, that might be happening in a company? How do you make sure that your highs aren't too high and your lows aren't too low, especially in an early stage company when maybe a lot of people are looking for you as a leader? How are you just making sure that you're not, swinging big time between different emotions if a failure or a setback happens?
it's a very good question too, because it takes a lot of time to understand exactly what is life about, in terms of what is success, what is failure. And I learned it not too many years ago, or at least my mind switched, and probably it helped my stay for more than 4 years in Indonesia, in a specific island with a specific project, and in Singapore with some specific friends that they had a specific life philosophy. From my perspective nowadays, much wiser than the average of the Occidental world. And basically, I every day just review what happened this day, and I think that the gratitude it is one of my medicines, meaning that first of thing, I try to identify all those positive things that happen during the day. And at the same time, I also learned that they are not failures itself. Some people, or my friends, that consider myself a pertinent or persistent optimist. But sincerely, I think that they are not failures or something like that. They are or good processes, developments, achievements, or learnings. And it is something that it is you need to interiorize. It is you are just tagging that as a learning, but really what happened is, well, it is your perception, and obviously is what you got control. We cannot control what are the cards that we need to play, but you can control how to play them. And sincerely, I think it's part of that maintaining to identify that whatever happened every day is an opportunity to learn. And if it is for good, wonderful. And if it is for bad, perhaps you need to learn something. So wonderful, because you are already learning about it. No? So let's say that it's a question of how to interpret. And since that is in our control, what I would recommend is just to consider whatever happened as a wonderful gift, and consequently, please thank everyone implicated. Could be God, could be whoever has brought you that good news, or whoever has participated. And at the same time, whatever is also teaching you life, also thank for that.
Yeah. So you have a very worldly view. You've traveled a lot. You have a lot of experience, just, different careers even. How do you take that sort of that very worldly view and apply it to real estate? Just the mindset of it. I'm sure real estate in Asia is different than the United States, and I'm sure it's even different from, I'm in Detroit, and it's probably different than LA, right? So how do you take this worldview, world experiences, world cultures that you've been a part of, and apply it to the tokenization of real estate and being that disruptive vehicle that you are going to be? So how do you kind of just how are you looking at it with your eyeballs on real estate?
Well, the reason I began with real estate investment, additionally to look for someone to hedge inflation, that from my perspective is the principal learning that every children should be taught in school. No, guys, fiat is the valuation, so try to find something that is gonna maintain your acquisition capacity, and could be real estate, could be gold, could be Bitcoin, whatever. No, but there is a lack of teaching and understanding about how quickly we are just losing our acquisition power, especially with the central banks printing money to the speed we have seen these last years. No? And the first approach to real estate was that. Secondly, I was surprised whenever I learned that real estate market is 300 trillion, that it is 3 times the securities of the debt market. So, okay, guys, this is a huge market. And consequently, with that market, probably would be easier to find good opportunities, considering the size. No, and of course, as you say, each country, each regulation, each taxation. Obviously, you need just to identify those advantages. In some cases, many countries, in order to foment the construction, because normally we are with a lack of inventory in especially developed countries. So the governments are going to just to give you some kind of taxes advantages in order to move forward, no, and to push you to invest in that direction. So what I decided is, especially here in in United States, no, whenever I began just to identify what were the taxes advantages of, nowadays we got holdings in Delaware, but especially, for example, in Florida, where we have our headquarters, and in this state we have no state taxes. You can use the exchange 1031 that basically allow you to reinvest whenever you sell a property into a likewise property, and you can defer the tax payment, or you can use the cost segregations, meaning that you can accelerate amortizations, consequently, again, to pay less taxes, or to use developments in opportunity zones where you can be up to 10 years without paying taxes, etc., etc. I mean, I'm using this example, but in each country, there are some specific, in some cases, temporal advantages to attract investment. And this area is a very sensitive or
Mm.
sensible one, because obviously it is a basic need. So governments normally they don't want just people complaining about the housing industry and situation. So I think that from a investor perspective, all those taxes are going to result in greater returns and or
Mm-hmm.
dividends, and consequently is something that also caught my attention, because few industries got that kind of taxes advantages. No, and regarding tokenization itself, obviously, whenever I began to analyze what is happening here, and coming from the consulting world, also I began just to ask to many of my friends in other consulting firms, Ernst and Young, McKinsey, BCG, and all of them were or agree in the huge opportunity of the tokenization industry, since most of them consider that basically there is for 2030, I think it's going to be expected that 10% of the GDP is going to be tokenized, so meaning 16 trillion. Of those 16 trillion, around 3 trillion is the opportunity or market size of the tokenized real estate. And well, if we sum to that size or opportunity, the new evangelist that Larry Fink, now the CEO of Blackstone, nowadays is everywhere, interview in any TV channel, just anticipating after their Bitcoin spot ETF success that next steps is tokenization and so on. I would recommend just to begin to join this wave, no, and to begin to surf, because for sure it's here to stay and to
Yeah.
grow.
So obviously we talked about it a little bit. You mentioned that we have your Republic campaign right now. How did you guys come to a decision to look at equity crowdfunding, and just what was the approach maybe in the conversations beforehand that said, hey, we think this would be a good vehicle for us to go out and offer what we do? So how did you guys come to that conclusion?
Well, up to now, in our case, in rental situation, I would like to highlight that we have had a very interesting three first years, because we have been growing with us more than 30% inter-quarter growth without investing marketing at all. It has been just word
Mm.
of mouth. And we have achieved those 15,000 users now from those 75 countries. And obviously, we began just to be identified from some of the institutional investors, VCs, private equities, family offices. Okay, guys, what are you doing, and how you are just creating this interesting database of investors in such velocity of speed. And well, we began just to indicate, well, we were just testing this business model. We would like just to confirm that it makes sense. And what we have identified is that there is a huge
Mm.
demand of these passive incomes, of this facility of investing and disinvesting 24/7, whatever the day, by the way, on weekends and so on, no, because I have been fighting with my banks all my life. Whenever you got time to shopping or to interact with your friends, you cannot in some cases because it's weekend. No, it's so this kind of financial and social revolution, obviously it's going to impact so quickly that we decided, okay, we need to increase our brand awareness now that we have confirmed the business model, and that we have already achieved this network effect and this traction. Next step is let's try to make it known as many people as possible, because it is gonna assist them to make a smarter use of their savings, instead of having that money in their bank account, or or behind the mattress, and inflation just eating that acquisition capacity. So that's why in some cases just pushing or pushed by these institutional investors, indicating, okay, you should invest in marketing, in PR, in communication, in brand awareness, in order just to increase your database, and in order to impact positively to all those people that are going to be able finally to make a smarter use. Bear in mind that in Latin America, for example, only 40% of people there, they got a bank account, but almost 90 whatever percent got a smartphone, so internet access. So it's huge, that capability of bringing through internet or smartphones or internet access, no, this capability. So that's why the first step, in fact, is we work as a DAO, meaning that we are interacting with our community through Discord, especially. And well, we told them, okay, guys, we are considering just a financing round in order just to increase the number of developers, in order to improve our features, since we want to move now to a very interesting new features that has to do with index funds, and to automatize from your bank every month the investment, and all those collateralized loans and so on. So, well, we say, okay, we need a little bit more of money in order to attract and retain good development talent. But at the same time, we want additional staff in other areas, marketing, and in legal, in order just to be ready for the new regulations all over the world. Nowadays, we are already in 3 continents, but obviously our vision is just to expand. And we are going to raise money. And the nice surprise is that suddenly the retail investors who were investing in our properties, they raised the hand, say, hey, guys, and why you are going to ask money to a third parties? Why don't you ask that money to us? And it was happened. It was our financing round. It was almost covered by our own users. That obviously was a very good also message, no, about the trust and the transparency, and the people were absolutely confirming that they believe in the business model and in the team, because it's completely different to my traditional syndicated investment funds. Normally, a new investors usually ask me for 3 references, and I send the names, the emails, the phone. Okay, you can speak with them. Nowadays, with this new revolution of managing firms, they can enter in Discord, and they got the 15,000 users real time, and you can ask and you can say whatever you want. So obviously, you have to do things properly in a correct way, and it is wonderful at the same time, because we are interacting with them, we are inviting them, we are asking them constantly what improvements, advantages, and so on, and they agree that, okay, guys, just this has to be known by many other people. So after that first round, we decided, okay, let's see if we find an interesting tier 1 VC that fits with this culture. I was mentioning before that I don't want someone just asking every month about the financial KPIs. I want someone who believes that it makes sense, or it is worth it to try to assist, to inform, to educate, to give as many people as possible these new capabilities that blockchain and DeFi provides. And we found one of those institutional investors. And at the same time, Republic just contacted us and indicated, guys, you got the characteristics of companies that fit with the profile of companies. We are more than happy just to provide and to announce in our platform. And well, we decided this last million, in fact, we have limited Republic. Okay, let's do this. But I think that it was especially a good exercise, because it obliged us just to consolidate all the international information in our holding in Delaware nowadays, and all the auditing, internal and external, and accounting, etc., etc. So it was a very helpful exercise just to structure our corporate strategy from a consulting, from a financial, accounting, and expansion point of view. And at the same time, the interesting of Republic is that they got 3 million investors, alternative investors. I mean, that it is not only for the equity they can be interested in, but also to just let them know that they got another investing platform in which they can invest in 3 different continents if they want to diversify their investments from $100 in this kind of properties, no, that normally we are focused on distress or the most demanded properties such as co-living, co-working, and so on. So basically was that the reason.
Cool. That's cool. What do you see the next year looking like? What's kind of on the roadmap? Where do you see you are? Where do you see everything being a year from now?
Well, we want to continue with the same growth we have achieved up to now, that it is basically duplicating revenues and EBITDA and the number of users or investors that are recurrently investing in our platforms. And we are especially fond of the new features that we got on the table in the product roadmap. No, since we are in fact already the first company in the world that not only we are providing this capability to invest, but also we got a peer-to-peer marketplace, meaning that you can sell your tokens among our community 24/7. We are going to be able to provide this collateralized loans option that is going to allow a population that up to now, basically it was less than 1% of population. And these Lombards loans were called like that because it just surged in Lombardy and Italy, and after that in Sweden. And it was something very, very dedicated to big with the ultra high net worth individuals that could access to this kind of financial loans. And at the same time, we want to automatize those investments, and we want to create index funds and funds per categories. You are going to be able just to select per I don't know, co-living, co-working, touristic, residential, or per countries, Spain, United States, Mexico, Dominican Republic, etc., etc. And with that, the idea is to constantly innovate. No, one of the culture aspects of our company is that we need to be constantly surprising our investors and our competitors, meaning that we need to be clearly just leading the innovation curve. And thanks God, it has been our first priority to have the best development team in order to have that first milestone, recurrent milestones achieved. And from them, continue listening our community with the DAO that also we are going to activate in the following weeks. The idea is just to identify which are the priorities in terms of product roadmap, for example, and some other strategical decisions, to listen to the new investors and potential new ones with focus groups, and for sure to begin to dedicate time, especially the C-level of the company, with media that we have been already contacted in order just to explain, no? Because it's true that Laurie Fink now is like a visionary indicating, guys, we should go in that direction. And many of the media that are contacting us is like, okay, yes, but we have been last 3 years walking the talk. No, we are not speaking about what to do. That is basically what is happening also with the strategic consulting firms. No, that they are all of them already indicating to their customers, guys, you need to move forward into that direction. And well, we are one of those strange and weird startups that, okay, we began some years ago, and we are already doing it with different protocols. We are agnostic of protocols, but we know very, very well the advantages and disadvantages of the back end of the business and the marketing and the relevance of the community. And we have been asked from different entities white label agreements that we are considering, not in the short term for sure, and so on. So I mean, it is just organic growth for sure. We already got identified some potential M&A agreements and alliance that is going to boost our global growth, and continue listening and learning, just identifying what are the needs of our
Awesome.
users.
What's keeping you up at night right now? What's the biggest worry that you have as of right now?
From a professional perspective, many years ago, I have no issues at all. It's all of them personal
Mm,
ones. I mean, it's my mother with
mm,
Alzheimer, or health issues, no, from family and close
yeah,
friends.
nice. Well, where can people go to check out more, dive into your world, learn about everything we just talked about? Where should people go?
Well, if you want just to know about rental with two e's, rental.co. The reason of the rental with two is because rental.com with one, we couldn't get that domain. But at the same time, to remember it better, is residential
Mm,
rental was our initial focus. Although we are open also to commercial, industrial, and so on. But it is Reental with two is.co without the M, co of co-investment, because by the way, other characteristic is that of rental is that we
mm,
co-invest with all our co-investors. We got always a skin in the game. We do not offer, we are not a mediator, we are not
mm.
crowdfunding. We are just inviting to whoever is interested to invest with us in properties that in any case we were going to invest in. So we are opening our doors to invite those interested in order just to invest in many more appetite. Fernando Ors, my name. My surname is three letters, ORS, in Google, and the first link is gonna be probably LinkedIn, and they can contact me there.
Awesome. Well, Fernando, we're going to flip over. We're going to do 5 quick questions here before we go. We're going to do, and it's going to be nothing to do with the company, nothing to do with crowdfunding or fundraising, anything of that. Are you watching any TV shows right now that you're into?
No, I have no TV. Well, I got internet access, but I don't see the traditional streaming
Okay,
TV
okay.
channels.
How about books right now? Are you reading any books that you're into?
Yeah, books. I am very fond of reading, and well, regarding this topic, I would recommend the last one that Tony Robbins has published, "The Holy Grail of Investing." Interesting one, and of course, the man who solved the market, how Jim Simons launched the quant
Mm,
revolution of Gregory Zuckerman. Very interesting one. It's the two I am reading. And after, regarding, by the way, Gregory Zuckerman, he had also a very interesting book about letters of the principal investors, the essays of Warren
mm.
Buffett, for example. It was Lawrence Cunningham, I think. Essays of Warren Buffett or quality investing. If they are interested in, as you can see, very fond of these new alternative investments. But basically, I try just to merge, depending on the mood of the day, with some humor, magazines or whatever that my wife is recommended to me. But those are very
Nice.
good
How about
ones.
podcasts? Are you listening to podcasts right now?
Yeah, most of them. I am also very fond of business podcasts, but also business development, personal development, and so on. And lately, there are very good podcasts about crypto news. That it is basically what I am trying to identify good ones, like Thinking Crypto or Daily Crypto News and CoinDesk. And I am very fond also of TED Talks daily.
Nice, nice. How about music? You listen, what kind of music you listen to right now?
I am not very fond of at least pop music, and Spotify is basically used to put from time to time whatever classic music that in some cases it relax me whenever I'm just or reading or writing, and but I have no any specific author identify more than the classics, no Mozart, Vivaldi, and
Gotcha.
so on.
All right, last question, and then we'll wrap this up. Uh, what advice would you give a first-time founder that wants to get into startups, wants to start their own business? What advice would you give them?
Well, double check that you are really crazy.
Yes.
Because you are going to need a little bit of
Yeah.
craziness in you if you're interested in this world. I mean, it is, from my perspective, entrepreneurs are without doubt the heroes of 21st century. And you need to have grit, resilience, and sincerely, your reason to be here cannot be financial or cannot be to achieve wealth quickly or whatever other reason regarding with the material
Mm-hmm.
world. Forget it if that is your principal motivation. I invite to all those that consider that it is a good use of their time to try something that it is worth
Yep.
it, because if you succeed, probably you are going to impact positively a lot of people, and if not, probably you are going to facilitate to others that will follow you to achieve that final goals easier. So find a very good business team. I mean, a complementary team. Avoid obviously your friends, avoid your family members, avoid. Just try to identify the best talent, professional people who shares your passion, purpose, and from them enjoy the process. And if whatever happens, what it is sure is that the best investment of your time, because for sure you are going to learn a lot.
You certainly are. Well, Fernando, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you got a busy schedule. You're in the middle of a campaign. You got a lot of stuff going on. This is an amazing conversation. I appreciate it so much. I know my listeners are going to be into it. And again, I'm going to make sure in the show notes, guys, go over to Republic right now, search the company. We'll put all the links in the show notes. But again, Fernando, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and at your entire disposal if I can assist you or whoever who is listening or watching us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.